She looked me up and down like I was dirt. In front of 100 people, my own sister raised her glass and said, "Everyone, meet Sophia. She still serves burgers in a diner while the rest of us moved up in life." I stood there holding a tray of drinks, but I wasn't there to serve anyone. Like, share and subscribe if you're ready for the twist they never saw coming. I didn't flinch. I just smiled. I had rehearsed this moment in my head 1,000 times. Not the exact words she used, but the humiliation, the sting, the fake laughs from the crowd, the way people looked at me like I didn't belong. But they didn't know. They were about to be blinded by the truth. Let me back up for a second. Growing up, my sister Ashley was always the shiny one. Straight A's, cheer captain, full ride scholarship. She knew how to impress, and she loved making me feel small. I was always the one in the corner, sketching business plans in my old notebook while she was out winning trophies. Even our parents bragged about her like she was the only child. I was just Sophia, the quiet one. When Dad passed away 3 years ago, Ashley didn't even let me speak at the funeral. She took charge of everything, like I was a guest in my own family. So, yeah, we weren't close. But what no one knew, not Ashley, not my mom, not even my best friend, was that for the past 4 years, I'd been building something. Quietly, relentlessly. After work at the diner, I'd spend nights learning code, meeting with silent investors, sketching out a tech platform I believed could change the local business scene. I was tired of seeing mom and pop stores shut down, so I built a tool that helped them fight back, and they loved it. Last year, my startup landed its first major deal, then 2 more, then 6. We grew faster than I could even process, but I kept it hidden. Not out of shame, out of strategy, because I knew this day would come. Ashley had thrown a grand party to celebrate her promotion, marketing head at some fancy retail chain. She invited old classmates, relatives, co-workers, basically everyone she wanted to impress. And she invited me too, not as a guest, but as part of the staff. She actually hired the catering company I occasionally worked for on weekends just to make sure I'd show up in a uniform. I agreed instantly, because I saw the guest list. Her new boss, Mr. Carson, was going to be there. The CEO of the chain she just got hired at. What Ashley didn't know was that he had recently partnered with my company to launch a digital system across all his stores. And we'd been emailing, Zooming. He was impressed. He even called me the sharpest mind he's met under 30. So when Ashley clinked her glass and humiliated me in front of everyone, I didn't fight it. I just waited. Waited for the moment when Mr. Carson would step up beside her, scan the room, and lock eyes with me. And when he did, he smiled wide, extended his hand, and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Wait, this is Sophia. The Sophia that built the tech we're launching next quarter? You're the CEO?" Ashley's face turned pale, like someone had pulled the floor out from under her. And trust me, that was just the beginning. Ashley blinked like she hadn't heard him right. "Wait, what?" she whispered, her voice cracking just enough for the nearest guest to notice. Mr. Carson chuckled, still shaking my hand firmly, clearly unaware of the storm he'd just stirred. "I've been telling my team about you for weeks," he said, turning to the small crowd gathering around us. "This woman built a system that's about to make our company millions. Her platform is genius, clean, efficient, and way ahead of the competition. Sophia, we're lucky to be working with you." The room froze. Ashley's glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. No one even reacted to the noise. All eyes were on me, the poor waitress, standing there in a black apron, suddenly shining brighter than the crystal chandelier above us. Someone from the marketing team whispered, "She's the CEO?" Another asked, "Did Ashley?" "No? Of course she didn't. Ashley was still trying to process it. There's no way. You serve tables for a living, she spat, her voice rising with panic. I shrugged, calm. Not really. I just like to stay close to real people. Helps me build better products. Mr. Carson laughed. You're more connected to the world than most execs I've met. Ashley looked like she wanted the floor to open up and swallow her whole. For years, she painted this picture, that I was slow, lazy, never serious about life. She'd tell relatives, Sophia's still figuring things out, like I was a child lost in a shopping mall. At every wedding, funeral, birthday, I was the cautionary tale. But now she was the one who didn't belong in the room. I saw our mother in the crowd, staring with a mix of confusion and shame. She had once told me, Ashley is the one we're proud of. She never meant to be cruel, but it was cruel. I remembered sitting alone on Christmas Eve while they toasted to Ashley's latest achievement on Zoom. Now even she was seeing the truth. Mr. Carson wasn't done. Ashley, he said, turning to her, you never mentioned your sister was this brilliant. You know she's going to play a major role in our future strategy, right? Ashley tried to smile, but her lips trembled. Yeah, I guess I just didn't connect the dots. I looked her dead in the eyes. That's okay. You never really saw me anyway. The silence that followed hit harder than anything I could have said, and then came the twist. Mr. Carson leaned in toward me and said, Hey, I didn't want to say this publicly yet, but the board approved the acquisition. If you're ready, the next move is yours, and you'd technically be my boss. Ashley's mouth dropped open. I didn't even have to say a word, because now, the sister she used to mock for being just a waitress held the power to change her life with one signature. And trust me, I hadn't decided yet what I was going to do with it. The whispers turned into waves. People were no longer pretending not to stare. Ashley's co-workers, the same ones who clapped when she gave that smug little speech about making it, were now inching away from her like she carried a disease called embarrassment. Her face was flushed, jaw clenched, but her eyes were searching for an escape. But there wasn't one. I stayed calm, steady, like I'd trained for this moment, because in many ways, I had. Years ago, I made a promise to myself, not revenge, just clarity. That one day, I'd walk into a room full of people who once dismissed me, and they'd finally see me. Ashley broke the silence with a weak laugh, pretending like this was all just a funny coincidence. I mean, wow. Small world, huh? Her voice cracked halfway through. Mr. Carson didn't laugh. I'm not sure how small it is when you've been working directly with my lead engineers and corporate board for the past 6 months, he said. Frankly, if I'd known she was your sister, I might have reconsidered your promotion. Would have looked like nepotism. Her face drained. Instantly, it was brutal, but fair. She tried to recover. Sophia, can I talk to you for a sec? Just privately? I tilted my head. Now you want to talk to the waitress? That stung her. I could tell. But not nearly enough. Because then, like fate had planned it perfectly, another voice joined the circle. It was Derek, Ashley's ex. The same Derek she stole from me in college by pretending she was just helping him with a group project. The same Derek who ghosted me 2 days after finals and popped up on Ashley's Instagram a week later, smiling with her on a beach in Florida. He stepped forward now, wide-eyed. Sophia? Wait, you're the CEO of Elevate Tech. I turned to him slowly. You remember the name of the company you laughed at? He looked stunned. You told me it was just some passion project. No, I said. Ashley told you that. The crowd was loving this, but it wasn't about putting on a show. It was about pulling the masks off. Every single one. Ashley grabbed my arm suddenly, her voice lowered. Sophia, please. You don't know how hard I've worked for this job. Don't let one stupid moment ruin everything. One stupid moment? I repeated, louder. Ashley, you've had a lifetime of stupid moments. You just never got called out for them. And then I dropped it. The company Mr. Carson mentioned. The acquisition? It includes a restructure. And I've already submitted my team recommendations. There's a strong chance the entire marketing department gets overhauled, including leadership. She paled again. Wait. You mean... I mean, you might want to start brushing up your resume, I said softly. People gasped. I didn't have to raise my voice. Power doesn't need to scream. It just walks in and stays standing. Ashley stumbled back, her mouth moving but no words coming out. Mom tried to step in, placing a shaky hand on my arm. Sophia, maybe we can talk about this. I turned to her, calm but firm. You had 27 years to talk. Tonight, I speak. And just as I was about to walk away, a waiter brushed past and offered me a glass of champagne. I took it, raised it. To family reunions, I said with a smirk, where people finally meet the version of me they never saw coming. But what they didn't know, the biggest twist, was still coming. Just as I turned to leave, a familiar voice pierced through the stunned silence. Sophia, wait. It was Dad. He wasn't supposed to be there. Ashley always told everyone he was too busy for family events, but he always showed up for her. Never once for me. I turned slowly. He stood there in his gray suit, a drink in one hand, and that same judgmental look in his eyes he'd worn my whole childhood. But this time, it didn't land. He took a deep breath and walked closer. Is this really true? You built a company that's merging with Carson Tech? I held his gaze. Yes. There was a long pause. He looked around, saw the way people stared at me now, like I was someone important, like I wasn't the screw-up daughter anymore. His mouth tightened. No, we tried to push you, for your own good. I laughed. You called me directionless. You said I was wasting my time playing with ideas on a laptop, while Ashley was out making something of herself. That was a misunderstanding, he muttered, shifting. No, it was clear. I could feel the heat building in my chest. Not anger, freedom. All my life I'd been carrying their labels. Lazy, weird, too sensitive, too quiet. But they weren't mine. They were projections of people who couldn't see past their own expectations. And now? Now I had something better than revenge. I had the truth. And everyone could see it. Derek stepped forward again, clearing his throat awkwardly. Look, Sophia, I know what happened back in college was messy, but maybe we could grab coffee sometime. Catch up? Ashley's head snapped toward him. I raised an eyebrow. You think I'd waste my time on someone who ghosted me to date my sister, and now wants a second chance because I'm successful? He opened his mouth, closed it, stepped back into the crowd. I kept my eyes on Ashley. Funny how quiet you are now. She clenched her fists. You made your point. Congrats. You're rich. You're powerful. But don't act like you're better than everyone. I don't have to act, I said flatly. The facts do it for me. She stormed off, heels clicking furiously on the marble floor, but even her dramatic exit couldn't pull the attention away from what had just unfolded. That's when Mr. Carson approached me again. We have one more surprise if you're ready, he said with a wink. I narrowed my eyes. What kind of surprise? He gestured toward the balcony. Cameras, reporters, lights. This was meant to be a quiet reveal, he said. But word got out. They know a major tech merger is happening, and they want to meet the mystery woman behind it. I blinked. You want me to go out there, now? You don't have to say a word, he said. Just walk out. Let the world see you. And for the first time, I realized what this moment really was. This wasn't just a comeback. This was my arrival. I turned toward the balcony. The glass doors reflected my image, but not the one Ashley, Mom, or Dad had seen growing up. This was me in full. No labels, no limits, no one else's definition of who I was supposed to be. I took one step forward, then another. The doors opened, and as I walked into the flashing lights and camera shutters, I heard someone whisper from behind, in awe, "That's her. That's the genius who built the billion-dollar empire in silence." But they still didn't know the full truth, because behind that empire was a secret nobody had uncovered yet. And when it came out, it would shake everything again. Thachor. Crowds' cheers blurred around me, but my mind raced. All those years hiding, struggling, building something from nothing, now exploding into the spotlight. Ashley's face haunted me, full of disbelief and regret. But my focus wasn't on her anymore. It was on the secret I'd kept locked away, the deal that could destroy everything, or make me unstoppable. Because what no one knew was this: my success wasn't just luck or hard work. It was revenge, carefully planned, piece by piece, and the game was only beginning.